All right, so let's continue. And right now we're busy with really security. But with security comes the benefit of knowing how users should log in, how you can protect your admin users, and all kinds of very useful coding principles that uh, then will be enhanced with properly securing your server. So the first thing is how we remember you. How do your application remembers you? And you can do it in a couple of ways. You can do something like add it to your code. All right. And if you do that, you open up yourself to high security risks. You'll be hacked in minutes. Uh, you can be doing stuff like cookie based and then have a super base vault behind it. So the critical security concept here is browser will suggest something. You say, this user, is he logged in? Because if he's logged in, then I can show him his user profile and I can get him to check out. The truth, though, however, is stored in Superbase in what's called a session table. So let's look at how all this works together. Now, the first thing, the word that you'll see here is stateless. What does stateless mean? Well, stateless simply means that when Node.js spins up a new worker, and even if he spin up 15 new workers, especially for you, in the last 10 minutes, he will not even know who you are. All right, he will have no clue who you are. So there's nothing that comes along that says this user is Jimmy and Jimmy have admin privileges. So Node.js don't get anything like that. So how does it work? So you start off by credentials entered in your login page. So your React will spin up a new scene that is your login page where it asks for your username and your password, right? What does React see? It says, okay, this is an API call. It's not just another page that's already in the browser that I can just dish out, and it will go to Netlify, and Netlify will spin up a very nice Node.js worker. So this worker gets this API call, and this API call will probably be something like John wants to see his dashboard. So you have Jim's username and you have Jim's password. What will happen? The middleware will take that. It will go to Superbase, and Superbase will create a cookie, a session with a cookie is just a very big number. With that cookie, it will have this guy is a administrator, or this guy is just a shopper, and things like that. And then React will get back a thing that says, hey, this guy is just a shopper, and the guy might have tried to log into an admin page, and because he's just a normal buyer, he'll get a forbidden page saying, sorry, you don't have permission to view this page. But the long and short of it is that you'll need a cookie. So once the user logs in, a cookie is created in Superbase, and we call it a session token. And that session token will have all the permissions that guy has in regards to your web application. Now, this cookie is sent then to the browser to React, right? But this cookie is called an HTTP only cookie, meaning not even React knows that there is a cookie. All it knows is there's this big long number, and from now on it's going to send this big number every time it does a API request. That's why I think you've seen very often you can be 2-3 days away from a website where you go back in and you're still logged in, all right? Because the session is stored in the database, and once you log in, of course, that session is still there, and you just continue without having to continuously supplying a username and password to log in. So these sessions you can set as you like. You can set it for a day, you can set it for an hour, you can set it any way you like. Don't make it too long, don't make it like a month or so. Let the guy at least log in once every 2-3 days. So the session should just be killed off, very easy to do in code. So the key point is previous Node.js from registration is dead and gone, right? So you might have registered on the website. Once you are registered, that node worker is dead, gone, and a new one spin up that knows nothing about you. And that is why you will need the cookie. So stateless means that by default, you and the server, like Node.js, is not remembering previous chats. It don't know what you asked previously. It uses this cookie to keep everything going smoothly. So the admin area, how does it work? So someone want to log into your admin area, like maybe a guy that's a hacker, and he might go something like rebelbleach.co.za/admin, which is very often the case, and he might log in with a username and password, hoping just because he's a normal user, he'll be able to see your admin pages. But in your Superbase, the request will go to Superbase and it will ask, can this guy see admin pages? In other words, is he an admin? But we can see it says his admin is false, so we'll get a 403 forbidden error. So we must know your username and password so we can obtain this session cookie, and only then will he be able to see your admin stuff. Again, that's why it's important to have your admin passwords long and difficult to guess and so forth. And that's how it works. Now, the important thing is that you should always use it is HTTP only cookies, because if it's HTTP only cookies, it means that cookie gets sent via your HTTP call. In other words, when you ask Netlify to do something, but React don't know even that you send the cookie, right? Because it can't see it. It just gets automatically added by your web browser behind the scenes, and no one even knows it happens. It's, for instance, there's no way you can see the cookie. Let's just leave it at that for now. So on image storing, and we're finalizing really with what we are busy with now, so I'm going to go through this fast. You already saw that you can place images. You can simply upload the images directly into your Superbase image containers or file containers. You can have these containers or these buckets, and you can have sub buckets, in other words, categories below that. So a bucket is nothing more than a category. So you can have products, and below it you can say this is training images, this is product PDF files, whatever the case may be. And you can easily, by just right clicking on the image, display that image or PDF, whatever you want to, straight from Superbase. So it's not going from web browser to Netlify to Node.js to getting an image all the way back. No, you are Superbase straight immediately, and it hands it over to you. Oh, by the way, if you take images and you tell Cursor, these images, go and store them for me automatically in Superbase, it will do it for you. No problem there. So APIs connect you to the world, right? You can connect to Superbase, resend for email. That's something we're going to install soon as well. Payment gateways, OpenAI, ChatGPT, and things like that. And here's a typical e-commerce flow. Add a product to a shopping cart. I can see how Node.js, which is also the orchestrator, right? So Node.js will say, okay, we need to send the email, we need to get the products from the database, we need to add this shopping cart stuff into the database. But very often you can just add shopping cart details straight into browsers, and you'll see how we do that. Authentication is handled. So everything we've done up to now, we already talked about. And that sort of brings us then to the final part. Apache slow, a serverless era, fast, and cost you pennies. There's the do's and don'ts. We did work through it. Please look in your lesson plan. I have this whole presentation in there, and make sure that you remember not to do the things you should not do and do the things that you should. So there we go. We have everything now connected. We're going to integrate Superbase, Netlify into our Cursor next. So I hope you have a great day further on. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.